Hi, my name's Dee and welcome to Sunchild Tarot and welcome to some general readings for the total lunar eclipse, supermoon, blood moon, flower moon for 26th, 27th of May, depending on where you are in the world. Now it's for the sign that is in the title of the video. It's a bulk introduction as ever. There'll be a timestamp that I'll put down below because I would suggest watch your sun, your moon, and your rising. And if you only get to watch one of them, watch your rising. Now, as ever, there's a link in the description down below for a birth chart, so you can find out your rising sign if you don't know it. And as general readings and general YouTube readings, standard advice applies. You know, if it don't fit, don't try and make it fit. Don't let me make decisions for you. It's not so much, well, I suppose this one is a take what resonates, because normally I would say for my more specific readings, ask a question. But this time I'm using basically oracle cards, and it's having a look at what energies I think this lunar eclipse, or I feel, or I intuit, I suppose would be a better way of saying it, or what the cards think anyway, that are bringing to us to experience throughout the effect of this lunar eclipse. Now, sometimes that can be up to 3 months. I've got stuck in my head from somewhere. I think 3 months for a lunar and 6 months for a solar. However, looking at the symbolism and looking at the astrology of it, it looks like it's definitely a build up and a preparation of the solar eclipse when that arrives in 2 weeks, another 2 weeks' time. So I will be doing a show with astrologer David Fisher, looking at the astrology of this lunar eclipse, and also it's a full moon. So I will still be doing my full moon gods at play readings as well, where I will be looking also at the angels and demons and that sort of the symbolisms and the degree symbols of the lunar eclipse itself. Here, since it is a south node eclipse, that is also talking about letting things go, releasing, dealing with the past, all of that sort of stuff. So I thought I would have a look at the angel regarding the south node itself, which in this case is Menadel. But I also want to point out that this is under the influence of Neptune, 22 degrees Pisces. So under modern rulerships, it's happy, it's at home, it's at 22 degrees, it's a master number, giving it extra whammy. And have a look at Soul Garden Namaste TV, Serious Joy, sorry, on YouTube for more about step 22, as Kushwateki calls it. But this is conjunct Pallas, the asteroid Pallas, which a few astrologers have made something of. There's a great video. Well, there was a great note, but I'm sure there was a video about it. If I may suddenly think I'm imagining it, but about Neptune conjunct Pallas from Anastasia Cosmic Astrologer. But the one thing that I noticed that nobody else is talking about is that it is also conjunct the asteroid Orpheus. So Neptune conjunct Pallas is extra psychic whammy, extra psychic awareness, extra psychic atmosphere, psychically charged. It's also Pallas can be looking at the wise way to weaponize things. So I think we have to keep a very close eye on the media and see what symbols and metaphors and dreams and wishy-washy woolly ideas that they are pushing forward more and more and more in order to sway public opinion one way or another. Take that as you will. I'm not an anti-vaxxer or anything like that, so I'm not listening to that sort of aspect of it. But when we look at the patent argument about the COVID vaccine, or we look at the various other economic arguments that abound on the planet, I wouldn't be surprised if something comes up. But with this also being conjunct Orpheus, now what do we know about Orpheus? He was a musician. and he descended into the underworld to bring back to life his lover Eurydice, who had been killed by a snake bite, and he braved all sorts of challenges and unfortunately failed on the last 5 yards. But there's this image of a descent into the underworld for heroic reasons. Now, a lot of the astrologers are saying that this is a letting go of past baggage. And to be honest, some of the degree symbols back this up. But with Neptune and Pallas together, we are able to dive into our own personal underworlds, Orpheus, and note those ideas and beliefs that have been used against us, even if it is us using them against us. You know, standard counseling sort of philosophy of it's not so much what other people have told you, it's what you learned as a 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old that you have to deal with. And let's face it, a 4, 5 or 6-year-old doesn't always get things right. So it looks like it's a perfect opportunity to dive into all those sorts of issues. Now, the angel, as I said, for this is Menadel. Now, as a degree angel, Menadel represents fear or fearlessness, and inner and outer work. So those, if we descend into our own underworlds, get the teeth in, then that is inner work that can have an effect on our lives, on the outer work, quite dramatically, I would say, under this Neptune Pallas Orpheus conjunction, all being ruled by Menadel. Now, Menadel is about liberation. So again, there's that letting go. Freedom and work. Not freedom from work, but finding that work that is your great work, whatever your great work may be. It's associated with Mars. So there is all this diving into the underworld. It's not just to dive into the underworld and stay there and wallow in, oh, look, I've got this issue, and oh, look, I've got that. It's a dive in, do what you need to, get out again. Now, Menadel's also a guardian of some people born under the sign of Virgo. I've not got the degrees, but I've got the dates, 18th to the 23rd of September, traditionally. So I don't know if you have your birthday in that period, you may get a bit of extra whammy from this transit, purely from that angelic resonance. Now, the interesting thing is the Chandra degree, Chandra symbol or inside degree we have is icicles melting. And the description is soul timing, slow and formative, waiting for fullness and ripeness, outliving old stuck patterns by slowly wearing them out. Something that I think we are in the process of, certainly since last year and all the crazy astrology that we've been having since late 2019. Deep process, you experience lessons in humility and simplicity. An extravagant streak which relents only after relentless pressure. Now, can you see in this symbol, there's also that tension between the Saturn-Uranus square going on. The conflict and the attempting to balance the old with the new. In fact, it says, the next thing it says here is cross purposes. You have an attachment to personal inclination of the most stubborn kind, and yet a desperate drive to get beyond the shadow. Interior dialogue and dispute. I don't think this is going to necessarily be externally a dramatic full moon. With it, the normal full moon, if you worked in all sorts of jobs, you know full moon is always a crazy night. I think the eclipse aspect would hopefully calm that down a bit. Fingers crossed. But I think internally, it promises to be a doozy. The slow burning way and allowing pride to surrender without being made wrong. Elaborate maneuvers towards significant breakthrough, which backs up everything that I was saying. Now, the Sabian symbol. Now, here's a fascinating one. Let me scroll down to it to make sure I get it right. Where have you gone? Now, it's a flag turns into an eagle. The eagle into a chanticleer saluting the dawn. Now, I see that Saturn Uranus old versus new in that symbol as well. The eagle, although it's gone down, it was a symbol of Rome, it's a symbol of America. It's not the only country that has the eagle as one of its symbols. And it comes historically, if you like your ancient alien stuff, it comes from Babylonian times, and it was the symbol of Enlil. Where, if you like your ancient aliens, you'll remember that Enlil is the one that tried to bump us all off because we were thinking too much and getting too bright. And it was his brother Enki who managed to save more than a few of us. Enki, if you're unfamiliar with Sumerian myths, you can look at Enki in a way as being a cross between Poseidon and Prometheus, because Enki was the one who gave mankind gifts and theoretically created us in the first place, and so therefore we're his pets, and he wants us to prosper, and ignore all the weird power dynamics of that statement. So in the background of this strange allegory, we recognise the deep-seated belief that the American nation and its basic democratic institutions were constituted to be the cradle for a new step in human evolution. How ironic that Dame Rudyard would look at it that way. And under modern context, absolutely. Under your ancient alien context, gets a bit weirder, doesn't it? But then again, so if you're into your conspiracy theories, this is a great one. Because the keynote of this symbol is the spiritualization and promotion of great symbols of a new age by minds sensitive to its precursory manifestations. How apropos right now, when you have everyone talking about the new age of Aquarius, that I still say we're not in it for a few hundred years yet, but we have that Aquarian energy, we have that air energy from the new 200-year, 800-year Jupiter-Saturn Great Conjunction cycle that has now entered the element of air. So even to a point, and I suppose this comes from my more scientific past, I'm a stickler for going, we are not yet in the age of Aquarius, but it really doesn't harm to start believing that we are, because of the good sides of it, because our beliefs and our actions defined by those beliefs will hopefully bring around that Aquarian paradise that everyone talks of, rather than maybe a totalitarian state, which is the shadow side of Aquarius. But, let's not talk about that one. So, carrying on with Dame Rudyard's interpretation, the flag is the abstract symbol of the nation. It becomes an eagle, another US symbol, when the concept is made alive by bold and transparent action. I suppose that relates to what I was just saying about the whole Age of Aquarius idea. The eagle symbolizes spiritual will and the power to rise from the highest possible altitude to the highest possible altitude of consciousness and purpose. Flying at such an altitude, the eagle is the first living creature to perceive the rising sun. Now, that he writes more about this, but I don't want this introduction to be too long. But I have not yet looked at the chart for the solar eclipse, and let's face it, I rely on David for the more technical understandings of all that anyway. But it will be interesting to see what I dig up about Amael for the full moon gods at play readings. Other than that, you can ask a question before this reading. Here's your opportunity now if you want to. I'm not going to guarantee you'll get an answer because it's not necessarily that sort of reading. But I'll bring the cards up in a second. So if you want to, pause, ask your question, concentrate on it for a few minutes and start the video again. In the meantime, I'll bring up the cards. Okay, Cancer. And if you are Cancer rising, this is occurring in your 6th house. So this is your day-to-day routine, work, health, um, everything practical, to be quite honest. And there's some beautiful cards here and some interesting messages. We start with card number 22 from the Hero's Journey. For this you were born. Uh, Foster your intention for incarnating in this dimension, it says at the bottom here. And that is immediately followed by the expansion card from the Sacred Spirit. So there's this sense of this is a really important time of your life. But it's a weird one because I rather think it's you need to allow yourself to be led on this path to a certain extent. And it will appear like, oh God, this is happening again. And there's a reason. This Spiral Dancer card from Wisdom of the Hidden Realms says, no, you're not returning exactly to the same space. You're not going in circles. You're going in spirals. You are evolving. There is a reason for things coming up again that have been there before, because you are dealing with them differently this time, because your perceptions with Dion Fortune here, your perceptions are, well, I want to say more intimate, more getting close to the detail, more perceiving, more penetrating. Please excuse all the innuendo style words that were there. But yeah, that could be a relationship thing. But another thing with the Spiral Dancer, it says it is okay to allow somebody else to lead for a while. However, you are needing to focus. Basically, Melchom here is basically a head of payroll in hell. According to Colin Duplancy, he's another name sometimes for Moloch, but according to Colin Duplancy, he is his own individual entity and therefore has some respect because he's controlling the payroll. You know, so therefore people will listen to him and people will show him the due deference. And this is saying focus on the budgeting, the frugality aspects, because you are bringing things together in harmony. Tiferet, the Sephiroth Tifereth, that is, if I remember correctly, in the center of the Tree of Life, is making sure that all the other emanations within, or Sephiroth within the Tree of Life, are balancing against one another and represents beauty. So it's curious. It's go ahead and grab your destiny, or rather stay exactly where you are and allow your destiny to come to you, because it is getting bigger and you understand it more this time, even if initially it looks like you are repeating the same old, same old. We have Asilia here with contemplation. So again, there's that sense of remaining in place. You're not the only one remaining in place. The last two, although it was completely different emphasis with Taurus and Gemini, but the last two readings were pretty much all about staying in place as well. But you are, well, the phrase I'm getting in my head is, which I've never understood, pouring oil on troubled waters, and it sounds like it's calming things down. I would always thought that would make things worse, but I'm getting the sensation in that calming down method that you are just balancing everything around you, and that if you weren't in the position that you were, all these other forces would be clashing and banging against one another. And although that means that you're going to feel buffeted and that it's the same old problems coming again and again and again, as long as you are concentrating on your reserves and your resources, your money, your budget, your frugality, all of that sort of thing, as long as you are looking after that, everything else slips into place, and the evolution and the the perception of what's going on will get higher or deeper, whatever phrase you want to use for it. Now, we've also got card number 22, master number, letting go, from the Wisdom of the House of Night Oracle. Now, coupled with the Spiral Dancer, that's also saying that things are coming to present themselves for you to say, okay, nice to see you again. It was nice that you was in my life. See you later. Because the image that I'm getting, and you may only know this if you're in Britain, I'm not sure if the show ever went years ago to other countries, but we used to have in the 70s, I mean, I was only a child, but there's this thing called the Generation Game. And one of the things in the Generation Game is that you have a conveyor belt going past you, and you have to remember all the items that are on the conveyor belt, and then you walk away and you get 2 minutes to say all the things that you saw. Obviously, one of the things would be cuddly toy. That was a famous thing. Cuddly toy, you know, kettle, toaster, iron, hair straighteners, ring binder, whatever, cuddly toy. So it's almost like some of these things that are coming up as well. Another thing, because that's why cuddly toy was going so strong in my head. Since it's the letting go, those things that have been a comfort and just aren't really anymore, and you're just keeping them there out of habit, time to say goodbye to them. Now the tarot here, let's get a few more cards sticking out. Okay, that one wanted to come out. Yes, what I was saying about the letting go. There's okay, these two. They don't need any more work putting into them. You won't be getting any form of harvest into them. What you will be doing is actually going, oh, okay, that hurts, that was true, or that wasn't true, you know, either or. But okay, I can let that go now. Because all of the options that you have around you that you're wanting to move forward with, there's no need right now. There's no need to go out on a parade. There's no need to be trying to manifest wildly. Allow the changes that this eclipse brings to unfurl. As long as you're looking after your budget, I mean, how could we get a more, reinforcing message card, Four of Pentacles here on top of Melchon? Defend your budget, defend your pennies, and the insights that you will be gaining. A few of them are a bit ouch. Oh well, you know, there's but they're all together for the better, and you will achieve more. Well, actually, right now, you'll achieve more by doing less, just by remaining as that balancing force. It's almost like what you do is less important right now than where you are. If you think about the planets, if you suddenly remove one of the planets, sort of, say a big one like Jupiter or Saturn, or if we're looking at the Earth, suddenly remove the moon, it would be serious. There would be consequences. There would be disruption, to say the least. So, remain in place, because things are growing and building softly. And this is something that is bringing you, it's not bringing you to your life purpose, so to speak. It's bringing your life purpose to you. And be aware that someone else may take the lead, and that's okay. You know, as long as you're looking after what you need to be looking after, that's okay. What an interesting and this was not what I was expecting whatsoever. With this expansion card and the Queen of Wands reverse, what it's telling me is if you, I'm not saying try to manifest less. We've got to break less sentence down. Try less to manifest things. That's the way to say it, not to manifest less. We can all easily manifest less of stuff, but try less to manifest things and just allow for the time being, for the just allow this eclipse to work its magic, whatever magic it is bringing you. And that may be somebody to work with quite intimately. But allow. So this is, as a reading, it's not really talking about the eclipse itself. It's talking about how you can approach these eclipse energies. But remember then also with this Tifereth that where you are and you being you in the space that you are being you is so important that to you it's going to feel like there's no movement, there's no motion, I'm not going anywhere, I'm not achieving anything, I'm not doing anything. Yes, but oh, now what was that Christmas film called where oh, I suddenly forgot. It's a Wonderful Life, or It's a Wonderful World, or whatever it was, where the guy wished he was dead and so an angel showed him, oh yeah, this is what the world looks like without you. There's that idea to be put in here, which will hopefully get you to be satisfied with less, because if you're worried about are you fulfilling your life purpose, well, right now it looks like you absolutely are. It's just you may not notice it, but you are fulfilling a really important role right now. So allow that eclipse energy to work its magic, whatever that means. Good luck. But I say that sarcastic really because you don't need any luck. You just need awareness. That's what with Asalia and the Unfortune here, that's what you must concentrate on. Oh, any budget. Just listening, watching, allowing, and certainly listening inside as well as listening outside, looking at your own emotions and thoughts, because you've got that generation game conveyor belt going past you, and some of them cuddly toys it's time to say goodbye to. That's really, I know it probably sounds miserable, but that feels like a really nice reading. Okay, so if this means anything to you, Cancer, which you probably won't yet, but if it means anything to you, Cancer, comment down below. Obviously, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. It's a YouTube channel. Now, there will be some full moon gods at play readings, hopefully, assuming I get time to do them. And I will no doubt be doing a show with David Fisher to discuss the astrology of this lunar eclipse. And yeah, have fun and find out how to be satisfied with what you've got going on right now, because you are fulfilling a really, really important role. Cheers.